Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us to have a special look at what our restoration teams are doing on a vessel in the deep Gulf. My name is Erin Spencer. I am the communications manager for restoration at the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation, and I am going to be your host today. Today, we get to talk to our friends on a ship, the NOAA ship Nancy Foster, which is a 186-foot vessel based out of Charleston, South Carolina. Today, they are about 55 miles from shore at a site called Viasca Knoll West. And throughout today's program, if you have any questions, please feel free to share them in the chat. We will make sure our folks on board get a chance to see them and answer it. And also, we would really love to get your feedback at the end of today. So please stay tuned for a link where you can share a little bit about your experience in areas where we can improve or other topics that you want to learn about. So we're going to paste the chat in the chat. We're going to paste a link now, but the link will also be available at the end of the program. So in just a few minutes, we're going to hop on board to the NOAA ship Nancy Foster. But before we do that, I want to do a little bit of a deep dive into the background of what we're going to be talking about today. So as you travel deeper into the ocean, less sunlight is able to penetrate the water. Just past recreational scuba diving limits, you reach something called the mesophotic zone, which means middle light. Despite the low levels of sunlight, this zone is home to colorful corals, sponges, fish, and invertebrates. Beyond this twilight zone, there is no sunlight at all, and it gets much colder and the pressure is much higher. But there's still vibrant habitats here full of life at these depths, hundreds to thousands of feet below the surface. These mesophotic and deep benthic, or seafloor ecosystems, are found worldwide, including here in the Gulf. However, in 2010, the Deepwater Horizon oil spill dealt a heavy blow to Gulf communities on land and at sea. 11 people lost their lives, and natural resources, wildlife, and habitats across the northern Gulf were severely impacted. More than 770 square miles of deep sea habitat were impacted by the spill. But as a result, collaborative restoration projects are currently underway to help us understand and restore these seafloor ecosystems found below 160 feet deep. The projects are developing new and improved maps of the seafloor to locate these important coral communities, learning more about the species that live in these habitats, the environmental conditions they thrive in, and how they might be connected across the Gulf, determining the best methods to encourage deep sea coral growth and reproduction to help restore impacted coral species and the important habitats they create. And lastly, reducing the threats that these ecosystems face and connecting these habitats and the restoration work to the public and natural resource managers, like through the live stream that we're doing right now. This restoration work is made possible by the Deepwater Horizon Natural Resource Damage Assessment Open Ocean Trustees and is led by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and the Department of the Interior. Plus, there are many partners, including a large number of academic institutions and non-governmental organizations. And you can scan the QR code here to learn a little bit more about this restoration work. So that's our intro, a little bit of background about the restoration work that's happening right now. But I think it's time that we go to the vessel live in the Gulf and learn a little bit more about the folks that allow this restoration work to happen. So hello to our guests on board. I want to introduce Field Party Chief Randy Clark and Lieutenant Commander Terrell Efford, the Executive Officer of the NOAA ship Nancy Foster. So thank you both so much for joining us today. Just to get started, can you tell us a little bit about what your role is on board? Randy, do you want to kick us off?
Oh, sure. Good morning, everybody. My name is Randy Clark. I'm a marine biologist with NOAA. My role is the Field Party Chief, which is basically the lead for the science team on this mission.
Awesome.
Pass it to XO.
Yeah. My name is Lieutenant Commander Terrell Efford. I'm the XO on board, so the executive officer and second command of the ship. Not only do I get to stay on the bridge watch and actually operate the vessel in support of our science, but I'm also kind of the chief administrator on board, making sure the crew is staffed and safe while we're out here at sea.
It sounds like both of you are really in this kind of leadership role at the vessel and on the science team. Can you tell us a little bit about what a day in your life on board looks like?
Sure, they're probably very similar. We're in close contact pretty much throughout the day, every day, 24/7 that we're on the ship. But from the science standpoint, um, once we wake up, we have generated a plan the day before of what's going to happen. So I've worked with the science team to put together the activities and what we're going to do, what the timing is, who's doing what. Usually our science team on the Nancy Foster, we generally have about 12 to 14 scientists to do activities. And then once we've got that plan together, I pass it on to the Nancy Foster crew. They do their things, make sure that we're all coordinated, timing, people, etc. And then we put it into action first thing in the morning.
Yeah, and from the ship side, we're all trying to work off the same sheet of music. So we want to make sure that the ship is in the right location, get the ROV in the water, or do whatever scientific research we're looking to do first thing in the morning. We'll gather up and have a safety meet brief up on the bridge, make sure we're all working off that same sheet of music, and then oftentimes we're already on site and ready to get things started. And then my position kind of rotates back to the back deck as a safety observer, and we're making sure we have all of our PPE. We're all staffed up appropriately, and we can get the ROV in the water safely. And we move from there on with the rest of the day. It's kind of off to finding a good rhythm now with these morning deployments, afternoon recoveries. And yeah, we get to enjoy the live stream right here on the ship all day long. It's great.
So, both of you mentioned quite a number of operations that you are doing throughout the day, and it sounds like there are just a ton of moving pieces and a lot of people that are needed to make all of this happen. Can you share with us a little bit about some of the other roles that are on board that are needed in order to make all of this work happen?
Sure. So on the science side, and almost at kind of the same level as my role as the field party chief, as a chief scientist or a science lead. Usually this person is the subject matter expert for the objectives that we are going to be conducting on the ship. We work with many of the world's best deep sea biologists and mesophotic biologists. So we are in great hands with their expertise on board, and we work together. The chief scientist kind of leads the activities as they're going, and I'm usually busy kind of working on the next day's plan. But as usual, when you're at sea, the plans you put together generally fall apart at some point. So we'll jump in and try to fix things and keep things moving. From there, depending on the number of activities that we have, there's usually a lead to oversee that objective or activity, such as the ROV. The ROV team has a lead and a pilot. The person that, if we're doing biological samples, there's somebody leading that activity. And if we're deploying instruments, that might have another person kind of leading that activity.
Yeah, and on the ship operations side, a lot of folks immediately think about those that get to drive the ship, and that's what the NOAA Corps officers on board get to do. Typically, you're standing a bridge watch of somewhere between 4 to 6, sometimes 8 hours a day. Not straight, but we'll break that up across the day. So we've got our OODs, our officers of the deck, operating the ship up on the bridge. We've got our deck personnel down on the fantail, running the winches, tag lines, safely bringing this equipment out of the water or putting it back in the water. We've got our engineers, right? The folks that are down below decks, keeping the generators running, the main engine, propulsion. Yeah, there you go. So there's just constant effort and upkeep and maintenance that's going on below decks to keep the vessel in ship shape. And then additionally, we've got our stewards department, a critical component to keep the human element going, right? We've got 2 wonderful stewards on board right now, keeping us fed, keeping us comfortable, getting us great food, three meals a day, and all the snacks you could ever want. Keep the coffee running. Everyone says these ships run on diesel, but the truth is they run on coffee and caffeine. So they keep us well provided for there. And then we've got our survey technicians. Right now we've got 2 great survey techs on board, and they kind of serve as a liaison between the deck force and the scientific partners, and kind of have the subject matter expertise to run a lot of the sensors and the instrumentation that we have on board. So that's all of those folks together make up the ship's crew.
It sounds
well-fed scientists and caffeinated scientists are happy scientists.
Indeed.
I can't imagine a worse place to not have caffeine when you guys are trying to accomplish so much all day long. And of course, food is the number one key to keeping people happy. And I understand anytime I hear someone coming off the NOAA ship, Nancy Foster, the food always comes up, and the ice cream fridge always comes up as well, another critical component.
It's a fan favorite for sure.
And luckily there's a treadmill on board too.
Oh yeah, good. I want to go back. You mentioned about the NOAA Corps, and I think this is something that not a lot of folks are super familiar with outside of the field. And can you describe a little bit about what the NOAA Corps is and the role that NOAA Corps plays on this vessel?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to. NOAA Corps is one of the 8 uniformed services of the United States. We are the smallest service, but we follow the same rank structure as the Coast Guard and the Navy. We're an exclusive officer corps, so we don't have an enlisted component, which means every NOAA Corps officer has a degree in what we call the NOAA sciences, so biology, engineering, meteorology, and we operate NOAA's ships and aircraft and uncrewed systems. So we're a group of roughly 350 officers that serve across NOAA and across all the line offices. And we rotate similar to the Coast Guard and Navy, where you have a ship assignment or an operational assignment, and then you go to a shore assignment, and you can go and work in one of those other line offices, National Marine Fisheries Service, National Ocean Service, Weather Service, any of the other line offices. And then you rotate back and forth on a ship to shore kind of rotation. Our aviators are probably begrudgingly our more famous counterparts, right? They're the hurricane hunters and the ones flying into storms and find themselves face to face with a camera a lot more often than the maritime officers, but we do enjoy it from time to time.
Well, face to face with a camera right now, so who knows? Maybe this will be the famous making live stream here. But we do have a question from the audience, and this is for you both. And don't forget, everyone, please tune in with your questions when you have them. What was a turning point in your career that led you to being on this ship today?
Let me go first.
Yeah.
Sure. So in my career, I started off mostly as a nearshore ecologist, focusing on estuaries or nearshore coral reefs. Those activities usually put us on the water in very small boats, 10 to 15, 20 foot boats, go out, come back in, go home at the end of the day. Around 2015 or 2016, my group, which is the National Centers for Coastal Ocean Science within NOAA, we are known for our abilities to map seafloor features as well as characterize communities. So we were identified as a group that could help and be part of the MDBC program. And so I volunteered to be a project manager for one of the MDBC projects. And I think maybe the turning point was maybe a few years before, when I was watching an OER live stream from somewhere. I can't remember where, but I remember just a very deep expedition. And I was like, man, I'd really like to do that someday. So here I am.
Yeah, on my end, I would say the largest turning point that led me here was joining the Corps. I was in academia, for several years. Got my undergrad in California and did my graduate work up in Alaska, and then heard about the Corps while I was up there. And I've really always enjoyed the science facilitation, kind of getting out the deep field work, the expedition work that I was doing as a scientist, and really wanted to lean in and build a career around that, taking folks out into the wild, out into the deep sea or below the waves, and bringing them back safely with the data that they need to make the decisions that are really going to make the country a better place.
And this expedition that you're currently on is one of a series that are under this mesophotic and deep benthic communities work, and all of it is around restoration, as we've learned already in this live stream. And some questions are coming in also around some of the technology that we use in order to accomplish these restoration goals. And you mentioned earlier about how ROVs, or the remotely operated vehicles, are a really important part of this work. And so I'm actually wondering if we could first talk a little bit more about how you're using ROVs on this expedition to help accomplish these restoration goals. And I think if there's if the ROV is in the water, maybe we can actually see a glimpse of what the ROV is seeing right now. Oh, great. Okay, here we are.
Is that the live stream? Oh, awesome.
Nice. Okay,
Sure.
yeah. Tell us a little bit about what we're seeing.
In order to work in these places, they're usually far offshore and difficult to get to. So we need ships to get there, and then we need instruments to get down to see what's going on down there. So the ROV is a perfect tool. They are usually equipped with all kinds of video and digital still cameras. And we generate terabytes of data every day using these technologies. And we also usually have on the ROV a manipulator arm, which is a tool that can be used to grab things. It has a tray that slides out, drop it in there, and we can bring it to the surface and process whatever sample we've collected back up on the ship. Most ROVs also have a piece of equipment called a CTD, which stands for conductivity, temperature, and dissolved oxygen. So this is taking real-time measurements on the seafloor, wherever the ROV is, of those measurements, so we can better understand the conditions that the organisms are experiencing at that depth.
And can you tell us from the ship side the sort of coordination that goes into ROV deployments and recoveries?
Yeah, absolutely. From the bridge perspective, we're really trying to keep the ship as stable as possible. We use a system called dynamic positioning, which is a really unique feature that Nancy Foster has. It allows us to functionally give control of the ship's thrusters to a computer that's modeled its position and its the impact of the environmentals on the ship. So functionally allows us to stop on a dime, and we can hold position within a meter in relatively, you can see some of the sea conditions that we're working in, 3 to 4 feet, up to 20 knots of wind. And we can keep the ship within a 1 meter range. And that allows the ROV, as well as the downweight that's thousands of meters below us, to really have precise position and can be very stable on the seafloor. So it allows for collections of corals, collections of those data, those images that you see. Without that dynamic positioning system, to have the ship in hand and hold position that way would be a real challenge. So it's one of the great features that Nancy Foster has with her twin Z drives and bow thrusters, that we can essentially park the ship and hold a GPS position within a meter.
Wow. And this is great. I think we are back to seeing the live ROV field here. And I think it really ties back to what you were talking about earlier, which is the number of people. This is a live view, actually, I think, of all the folks that are on board watching the stream. And there's just so much communication that goes in between the ship and the crew and the science team. And it's just really exciting to see this all happening live. And it looks, we just came off of this incredible space mission, and I feel like looking at the ROV room, it looks kind of similar to what we were seeing, of everyone watching the screen with excitement. So there's also another question that we have from the chat that kind of ties into this, back to thinking about your career path and where you are right now. But was there a moment where you're perhaps out on an expedition, or at some moment in your job where you thought, wow, like this is why we're out here. This is why we're doing this restoration work?
Yeah, for me, just dropping down on any habitat, whether it's a soft coral ecosystem, thermal vent, brine seep, or just a mud habitat. You see different forms of life there, and it's just amazing to think that something can live 300, 400, 500 meters below the sea in the darkness and in such intense pressure. And it's just amazing. It's just, sometimes it's overwhelming.
Yeah, I think I have those moments every day that we've been out here, honestly. I mean, to varying degrees of intensity, but just having a cup of coffee and watching the sunrise, I have those moments like this is what I wanted to be doing with my life. This is I feel really privileged to be out here and doing this work. You know, we're seeing some of the footage right now, but this is piped into the galley, into the mess, up onto the bridge, and it's hard not to get sucked into this because it's just a question of exposure. I mean, just being down there with the cameras on and capturing what is, it's all stuff that's being seen for the first time, and there's this constant air of exploration in every time we put the ROV in the water, because you just never know what's going to swim in front of the camera, or what the ROV is going to swim over next. It's fantastic.
And I think it also, that moment where you never quite know what you're going to see. There's nothing more fun than watching a group of folks respond to what's going on the ROV feed, because everyone, from what I've seen, everyone is just so passionate about this work and loves the job so much, that it really is just this element of excitement to be out there. And thank you both for sharing that. I think that's such a good thing for folks to hear. And it also goes into my next question, which is, if you could go back to your younger self, what's something that you would say about this career, or to someone that might be interested in pursuing this in the future, and perhaps like what surprised you most about it, or what would you have wanted to know before getting into this field?
This is a great question, and maybe Terrell has maybe some similar comparisons, but I'll throw a plug to Texas A&M Galveston. That's where I went to school as an undergraduate. They had a marine biology program that I was part of. They also had a marine transportation program, and so those are folks training to do this, be officers and work on ships for NOAA or for whomever. And I had a bunch of friends that were in that program, and they went on to, I think some of them went on to work for NOAA, some of them went to work in the private industry and be tugboat pilots on the river and stuff. So, and thinking back to that time, and I had some friends that did both marine biology and marine transportation. And, every time I come on a NOAA ship, I'm like, this is awesome. I could have possibly blended that into my career back then. And it's, possibly an avenue that I'm still here now, but it could have been something that I would be doing every day, like XO here. So just something to think about. Keep your eyes open and always kind of try to think about, all the opportunities you might have.
Thanks, Randy. Yeah. I call the NOAA Corps, the country's best kept secret, right? We're the smallest service. It checks so many of the boxes that I was looking for coming out of college. Something that was going to keep me in the field, but allow for career progression, for leadership, for growth. And I think, I wouldn't change my path that I took to get here at all. I had a great time as a graduate student. I learned a ton about academia, but I really found my niche in the Corps, facilitating a lot of the science. And Texas A&M Galveston and other maritime schools that facilitate this science, that facilitate this life, is a fantastic path that has led folks to the NOAA Corps. Folks coming out of academia, folks coming from inter-service transfers from the Navy and from the Coast Guard and coming over to the NOAA Corps. There's a lot of work that's being done out here at sea in uncrewed systems and crewed systems like we have, and all of those take human capital to support. And so I would say, just because you're not the first author on the paper or leading, the framing up the hypothesis, like there are a lot of support roles that are extremely exciting and extremely rewarding that I would not want someone to get discouraged from exploring a career in facilitating science.
Absolutely. That's great.
And it sounds like when you describe all the different types of roles that are required to make a restoration mission like this happen, pretty much any skill or interest that you have, you can probably apply to something like this, right? And I think that's such a great thing to keep in mind, which is there's just so many different types of roles that are required, and there's really a spot for everyone to make something like this happen. We have another question from the chat. What is the most unique thing that you've seen? It says from the deep, but I'll open it up to just generally on a mission like this. What's the most unique thing that you've seen?
For me, since we've just got started on this cruise, I've not been to these two sites that we visited yesterday and today, sites that are known for their large abundance of a coral called Lophilia or Desmophyllum. So I really wanted to see that. And then one of our first MDBC cruises in 2022 that I was on and led by myself and Amanda Demopoulos, one of our project managers / advisors. We were in very deep water, somewhere around 1,200 or 1,300 meters, and we saw a Dumbo octopus, which was awesome. They're kind of rare, but now that we're kind of getting in those habitats more, we see them a little bit more often. And we also saw, I forget the name of them, but it was a type of good-sized squid mating. And that both of those things, just like everybody in the room just, started going crazy. So that was a really cool experience.
The people love cephalopods.
Absolutely.
Can't get enough.
Lots of love. Yeah, this is my second or third now MDBC ROV mission. I was able to come out before I was EXO and augment out. So I don't have a ton of deep water experience as far as what's coming over across the footage. So it's all very unique to me. It's all new. But I'll maybe pivot off of that. And something that was extremely impactful for me is when one of the first times I came out, we put the ROV down on the wreckage of the Deepwater Horizon. And that was an extremely impactful moment that impact obviously a tremendous number of people in the environment, and just kind of, I immediately felt the gravitas of the work that we were doing out here and the importance of it all. And so yeah, that was a pretty special moment.
Thank you both so much. I want to just give folks one more opportunity to jump in the chat to see if there's anything else that folks want to know. I do see, first of all, I do see a call out to the Sea Aggies, which I assume is A&M, right? Okay, great. And what do you wish people knew or understood better about this restoration work or about the deep ocean?
Wow, that's a big question, and that's actually one of the main objectives of the Habitat Assessment and Evaluation Project of MDBC that I lead with others, and it's really just to know more about these habitats. As you go from the mesophotic down to the very deep, cold habitats, we know less and less and less as we get down there. So one of our main objectives is just to know what lives down there, why do they live there, how do they live there, The pace of life down there is extremely slow. So we just want to better understand it for the sake of this restoration, but also for the sake of if we need this information for any other future catastrophe that might come our way.
Yeah, and I'll just say, I think, going back to my last answer, or one of my other answers, about just having eyes open, having eyes down there, and the exploration of it all. I think bringing awareness to these communities is huge. I think a lot of focus is understandably in the shallow waters is where we have the most eyes, right? We see coral reef footage, we see amazing kelp forests, and those types of communities. Folks know that those exist because they're in the public eye a lot more frequently. And with this type of work, we can get the word out that these deep water communities exist, that they're worthy of protection and restoration, and that there's more than just a muddy bottom down there. There's these thriving communities, and it's a learning curve that I'm on right now. And if I'm out here living it, I can only imagine what the general public think about what's going on out here in the Gulf. So I think raising the awareness of these communities is a huge part of this project.
100%. And on that note, just thank you both so much for your time. We really try, these live streams are a way to raise awareness about the fact that these communities exist and how important they are to restore. And I know, as we've heard throughout this whole program, you have very busy days. You are trying to have a lot of things that you check off on your list all day long. So just really appreciate you taking the time to share with us a little bit more about your experience and about what led you to this point. And then before we let you go, I just would love to end on, what's something about this restoration work that makes you hopeful for the future?
I think it kind of revolves around the last two topics we talked about. One is the satisfaction that we're learning more about these habitats, and we are in the process of the restoration process, which is compensating the public from those damages that were observed. The other part is the education component, the communication component to the people in Nebraska or the people in wherever, just so they can know more about these habitats and be better informed.
Yeah, I'll finish up quickly. I think what gives me the most hope is the support that exists for this work, that the funding is here to do this type of work, and we can continue this into the future, and it's sustained and kind of guaranteed out for several years. It allows for more robust science, knowing that you've got a long-term funding stream, and you can look over not just snapshot after snapshot, but you can put together a time series of how these really slowly changing communities are changing.
Well, thank you both again so much. I think I can speak for everyone on this live stream that we so appreciate your time and your experience here, and that we are wishing you safe sailing and good luck with all of the restoration objectives on this mission. So thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Aaron. Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Aaron. Appreciate it.
So before we log off, I just want to remind folks of a couple of things. First, during this program, we really wanted to focus on the particular objectives of this mission. But this is just a snapshot of all the work that the Mesophotic and Deep Benthic Communities portfolio is doing. As a reminder, we're doing this extensive high-resolution seafloor mapping. We're diving deep into understanding the seafloor communities and how they're all connected. Doing groundbreaking coral propagation work, both in the lab and at sea, and then removing marine debris and other threats facing these habitats. And then, of course, trying to connect people to these habitats and the restoration work. And this is all under this big goal of restoring deep Gulf habitats injured by the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. Please check out our other live streams. We actually have a few others coming up. We have one on the 22nd, or Earth Day. And then we have another one coming up on the same series in May 6th, around the technical diving work that we're doing. So please keep an eye out on this YouTube page to see our upcoming live streams and join us live. But we also have a huge library of previous live streams from all sorts of different expeditions and topics that please feel free to peruse those and enjoy some of those as well. We also have a ton of other resources. We have not just the live streams, but other publications, the data, marine resources, as well as a lot of educational resources. And so we're going to paste some links in the chat there as well, so you can find some of those. And then last but not least, we would just love to get your feedback on today's program and see things that you enjoyed and also areas that we can improve. But all in all, again, thank you so much for joining us today. It is so special to be able to go live and share some of this restoration work directly from where it's happening in the Gulf. So hope you enjoyed today's program, and I hope we'll see you in one of the ones in the future. Thanks.